all are welcome. We are a place, a space, and a face of love. A spiritual community practicing universal principles that enrich and transform our lives.
Your presence is a blessing. If you're joining us online, feel free to say hello in the comments so we can celebrate you and your light.
Life brings many experiences, and you never have to walk through them alone. Our licensed spiritual practitioners are available for personal prayer support. Their names and contact information can be found on our website at csldenver.org.
You may also email prayer requests to info@csldenver.org. Convenient links are included in the description of this broadcast. We extend deep gratitude for your participation, your financial contributions, generosity, and your continued support of our services, classes, and community events. If you'd like to stay connected and informed, we invite you to sign up for our weekly newsletter on our website.
We continue to live stream all services every Sunday on Facebook, YouTube, and the New Thought Media Network.
Wherever you are, you can join us in real time. Thank you for your precious attention and for being part of this beloved community. Now, take a breath, open your heart, and prepare for an experience of inspiration and spiritual nourishment.
There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden where God's grace blooms. There is a garden where everything grows, a beautiful garden where love is sown. And in this place of light and love, you can have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is you. And in this place of light and love, you can have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is you. Such a beautiful garden. That garden is you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Alice Nutter, a practitioner here at CSL Denver. And let's move into an invocation. So if you feel comfortable, just sit back in your seats and close your eyes. And let's just move into that space and that place that is always there. Absolutely knowing that the divine is working, living, and breathing each and every one of us. And we know that as we move into today's service, that Coni Carter's, our speaker's words hit home where they need to go, and the music and the reading, everything is well and good. Our technology is working well, and we are just also gratefully blessed for the Center for CSL Denver, for each beloved person who has chosen to call this center their home, and knowing that we are just also truly blessed. And from that place of deep, deep gratitude, I release this into that one mind, that one heart, knowing that all is well, and it is so. And so it is. So we are into August. So I think it's the dog day afternoons is what it is. We're really all over the heat, I think. So, the theme this month is about fear and faith, not fear. And so our reading today comes from their daily words, and it's by Kelly Robbins, who is actually a minister here in the Denver area, and we've actually had her speak here. So it's called Transforming Our Fear. There are two common acronyms for fear: forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. When you are afraid, you can choose to either turn and run or to lean in and walk through. Transforming our fears can happen in an instant or in stages. It begins with choosing to face everything and rise. Facing our fears is how we overcome them. First, be aware that you are afraid. This may sound simple, but some of us don't realize we are afraid. This may sound, as fear can be hidden under other emotions. Sometimes we analyze the situation intellectually rather than emotionally, making fear seem illogical. Next, clarify exactly what you are afraid of. Take time to understand why. From there, sit with your fear and explore the spiritual truth behind it. Fear is misplaced faith. Consider looking at it as your teacher, how to show you areas that are ripe for growth and ways to deepen your oneness with God. What is your understanding of God, or the creative process, or universal law? Reflect on how your fear may not align with these spiritual truths. Because our physical bodies respond to fear immediately and strongly, we often react rather than responding when something scares us. As a result, we may not take time to listen to the message or reflect on our fears and on alternate ways of responding. Ultimately, using fear as a catalyst for transformation can lead to profound change and deepen our relationship with God. And from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, there can be nothing in the universe operating against our word except our own doubt. And now let's have music from Bob Sima called Raise the Vibe.
There's a shadow on the wall, there's a bomb about to fall. There's a knocking on the door, it's not so gentle anymore. And there's a bird about to fly, there's a herd on the run. It's beginning to be so clear they might know something that we don't. And there's a rising of the tide, there's an anger in the sky. There's a frequency and vibration that will not be denied. And there's a phone about to ring, it's a call we got to take. It's a message from the future, a blast from the past, and it's calling out your name to light your fire. Fan your flame, do what you must be, still be strong, be bold, be brave, and meditate. Go to your altar, it starts inside. Raise your hands, raise your hearts, raise your voice, raise your thoughts, raise the vibe. Raise the vibe. Everything we thought we knew is all up for review. Everything gonna change for the better. It's not a breakdown, it's a breakthrough. And we sang this song before, we danced all over this floor. But the whisper we heard in the breeze, my friend, is turned into a roar. To light your fire, fan your flame. Do what you must be, still be strong, be bold, be brave, and meditate. Go to your altar, it starts inside. Raise your hands, raise your hearts, raise your voice, raise your thoughts, raise the vibe. Raise the vibe, raise the vibe. Raise the vibe. Every hand you touch, every eye you see, every breath you take, every word you speak, every truth will begin to rise. Every lie will finally die, and the end will come to the fear and shame. Everything will be called out by its name. No, nothing hides and nothing slides, and only love survives. Raise the vibe.
Happy to have Coni Carter. As I know, most of you know who she is, but I'm going to give you a little bit of her background before she comes up and talks. Coni discovered Mile High Church of Religious Science in 1988 and quickly fell in love with the writings of Dr. Ernest Holmes. Her commitment to science of mind led her to become a licensed science of mind practitioner in 1994. At the time, she was living in Minneapolis, where science of mind churches were few and far between. Along with 9 others, Coni helped establish Celebrate Religious Science, an international religious science church, and also supported a United Church of Religious Science study group. She later founded the Center of Loving Consciousness to share her skills and talents as a spiritual coach and to offer classes that supported personal growth, prayer, and spiritual awareness. Coni moved back to Denver in 2006 and now lives in Bailey, Colorado with her husband, Mike. Over the years, she has trained as a Unity Prayer Chaplain Coordinator, and Divine Science Prayer Partner at Althea Center. Today, Coni is a motivational speaker who shares her passion for the power of prayer. So please help me welcome Coni Carter.
Thank you, Alice. It's so wonderful to be here and to be a part of this, because this is kind of where my roots were when I came to Denver. I was already a practitioner, but I got invited to be on the team that is so much active still here today. And in 2010, I was actually on that team when Mike Carter showed up into my world. And so our roots really do begin here. So it was kind of interesting how when Allison, contacted me to let me know, that there was a theme and that we would be, exploring this idea of faith as a force for change. And because at that moment I had just gotten out of the hospital and I was angry and frustrated and scared. A lot of things were happening in my life in that moment. And I knew this was the perfect topic I knew that as I began to explore this idea and to embody, what that means to be, to be standing in my faith. And so what is faith? And that's something we each have to determine. But for me, it's a willingness to detach from the appearance and to move the ego to the side And that's not always easy because our ego sometimes likes to be in charge. And so then it's to living from that deeper sense of awareness that there is a power greater than we are and that it has our back. And, you know, when you're going through something that isn't normal, like being sick or, you know, you have to reach inside. You have to reach into that space that says, I'm okay. And that's not always, you know, the first place we go. Our ego would much rather say, let me out of here. And so I have to admit that, you know, to take the step that moves you into your faith, it takes courage. And what comes with it is responsibility and practice. And so, you know, those are the three things that really move us forward, to allow us to become in alignment with that inner source, that higher power, and with our own life. And so Wayne Dyer, many of you know, and I think I picked up the book here off of your bookshelf back there. And it was one of his newer ones that was called Wishes Fulfilled. And in that he said, you must have faith. And faith is attained through complete trust and confidence in the power of one universal mind, of which you are a part. It is that part of you that has placed you into this situation, into every situation. Your thoughts, your feelings bring forth life. And that's all it is life. And we have to stop defining it as good and bad. But that's not easy. That takes courage. That takes a willingness to step out of the fear and into your faith. So I knew that, you know, I would be up here sharing my personal story with you today. So I spent June and July getting ready. I took on the responsibility of having to take a look at what faith was to me. And I mean, like Alice said, I became a practitioner in 1994. So it's not like I was new to this, but I needed to go inward. I needed to tap into that which I believed. And I needed to find that faith that says, I'm okay. And so I also had to find my voice. Because sometimes when we're on a spiritual journey, we do like to go inward. We like to, you know, take that time to, you know, be responsible and to find our courage. But sometimes we need to get loud. Sometimes we need to be able to voice it physically, to be able to say, this is not okay. And that's a good thing to say, to be so in touch with yourself that you can say, this is the way I want to live, or this is not. Life requires both of that from us. So I did. I found my faith and took a deep breath. And then I had to face my anger. For once again, I found that I was not being listened to and I was not being heard. And as I took that breath and I went within, I realized that this is a pattern. This has shown up in my life time and time again. I came from a family that couldn't hear me. I had many situations where I felt I wasn't listened to on my job or in a relationship. And I didn't always speak up. Instead, sometimes I would just run away. And which sometimes meant I got divorced because that was easier than staying in relationship. Or sometimes I walked away from a job that I loved because I didn't want to fight for it. So, there's many times that we go through life that we have an opportunity to look at what's going on inside of us. And so what I knew is that I was at another point and it was a time to change. And so I found a reading from Ernest Holmes. So we're going to have a slide here that says, we all have the ability to transcend previous experiences and rise triumphantly above them. But we shall never triumph over them while we persist in going through old mental reactions. So what does that mean? That means I have to figure out a new way to be, a new way to say what I want, a new way to express who I am. And so a new way, it doesn't mean that we have to totally remake ourselves. I love being Coni Carter. I love being 81 years old and alive in this world. I love being a practitioner. There are many things that I love about me, but there's those little things that are hidden in my subconscious that, say I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I need to be different. And it's those things that I really, when they come up, I need to face them and to be responsible for them and to be willing to change. And change isn't always easy. But Ernest Holmes says that anger can be turned into love. And the very power that's been destroying us can build us up. So how can I turn those emotions that are filling me with anger into a healing energy? My training says that we must look at the conditions in our own world because they will reflect back to us what is going on inside. That's not always an easy thing to do, people. When your world is crashing and burning, it's not, saying I'm responsible for this, and you don't want to use that word. I'm responsible for this in such a way that you beat yourself up. That's not what this is about. Responsibility is not about beating yourself up. Responsibility is just about saying, I recognize what's going on. And I either want to stay here or I want to change. And change just means I want it to be different. I want it to empower me rather than to drag me down. And so I was being called to affirm what I had faith in. And like all of us, we all have a story. So my story began on June 14th or 13th. And I had decided through talking to my medical doctors to do some vein procedures that they say help with the blood flow in your legs as you get older. And it sounded like a good idea. And I did more research and I had gone forward. And so I had 2 procedures. One the first week of June, the second one the second week of June. I had, had that second procedure like the morning of the 12th of June. And they said everything was going fine until it wasn't. At 5:30 in the morning, I woke up and I knew that it was no longer fine. My body had produced a staph infection and an allergic reaction to the glue that they use in these procedures. Who would know? I mean, who would guess that you would react to glue? But your body is a strange and wonderful thing. And so I have to admit, I called my daughter in Michigan and because I didn't want to take responsibility. And I said, what should I do? And her response was, if you're calling me, Mom, you know what you need to do. So Mike packed me up and off we went to the emergency room. And so they kept me in the actual emergency room for about 8 hours and then finally moved me into the hospital part where I would be for the next 2.5 days. And through that process, I also, became very aware that my veins don't like to be poked. And, they'd put things in and the vein would break and say, nope, not going to stay there. So 2.5 days later, I finally said, I've had enough. And I spoke to the doctors and I said, I need out of here. I need to go home where I can face my emotions. Because this was all very emotional. I mean, when you've got a infection raging through your body, and everything just does not feel normal. So I wanted to go home where I could really get deep into my spiritual practices of praying, crying. Crying is a spiritual practice, in case you don't know that. Trusting. And also with me, that includes a lot of reading. For I love my books. I love, to pick them up and be able to open them up and to take whatever is being said in that moment in that book. Don't need to read the whole book necessarily, but I have a library of 500 books so that I can just reach up on the shelf to remind me of what the truth is, so that I can move into that space where I can trust and know, which is what faith is about, and which gives you the strength and the power to change. So, but I'm on top of it, right? I'm home, I'm safe, I'm doing all my stuff. Well, a week later, the infection decided to move to my big toe. And we ended up back in the emergency room again for another 12 hours. This time, my fear of the medical system had turned to terror. I was not being heard. I was not being listened to. They have their procedures and they're going to insist on, putting the needles where they want to try to put them, and they aren't going to listen to me. And so after 12 hours of not being listened to, I knew I couldn't abandon my faith. I knew God was there. I knew that power that I have studied and practiced and read about and trusted was not going to desert me. But I needed to speak up. And I needed to say no. I'm ready to move forward. I'm ready to change. I'm ready to try something different. So I refused to stay in the hospital, and I returned home to be with Mike and to feel safe. And feeling safe is important. You need to know where your safe places are. And you need to know that in advance. You know, we don't want to wait until we're in crisis to figure out what works for us. Where do I stand? What do I hold on to? And so, and it was, life is so funny because all of a sudden on my phone, YouTube started giving me Louise Hay. And so we went home and, so as we go to bed at night, we turn on the tablet and go to sleep listening to Louise Hay, teaching me how to affirm that the good is possible, that health was right here, right now, that, but I knew that somewhere stuck in my subconscious, not in my conscious day-to-day thinking, but in my subconscious, something was going on that had attracted this infection. Something was out of whack. And I needed to face that and decide where it was. And I knew that just, a month prior, I had gone through a situation where I had to make a choice to release something that I had been part of for 13, 14 years. And that was being the prayer chaplain coordinator. I mean, and I love that job. I loved my chaplains. I loved everything about it. But a situation had come up that I needed to release it. I was angry. I was not happy. Let's put it that way. And instead of really dealing with my emotions and my feelings about what all this was going through, I had stuffed it, which was kind of a tool that I like to use. Let's not take care of it. Let's just stuff it. So here it was, right in my face, and change had to be addressed. What do I want? Do I want to live with a body that's, raging with anger? And I don't. I love life. I love to smile. I love to laugh. I love to hug. I love to be present to all of it. And so I knew that I'd been on this spiritual journey long enough that I needed to do some deeper work. So I did. I watched my diet to allow my body to process the antibiotics I was on. I followed up with appointments, and I manifested my doctor in Conifer, this little town, little mountain town. And there's a clinic there that I go to for my annual physicals usually. But my doctor said, I want you here 3 times a week, just for me to look at your body physically. I need to know what that infection's doing. And I mean, how often do you attract someone like that, that's that willing in their, because I mean, she's very busy. I mean, trying to get an appointment with her isn't always easy. So, for her to say, I mean, one morning she said, I want you to come in at 8 o'clock. That's when I arrive. Because my whole schedule is filled for the day. And I mean, I'd only be in there like 10 minutes, but it made me understand that, not only could I attract an infection, but I could also have the perfect people to help me deal with that. And so she was bound and determined that I was going to be allergic, I was going to be free of infection before she would release me to go on our trip to Texas. Like, we had planned on going to see family, and it's like, so had one last appointment on Monday, and we was to leave like on the 23rd of July. Yeah. And so she finally said, "You're free." So off we went. We drove to Texas. We had a wonderful time. And all along, I'm thinking about how do I share this with you, not to get sympathy, but to encourage you, to tap into your passion for your own life, so that you take the time to do that work, to learn about the power of prayer, to understand that there's a connection between you and that source that gave you life, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's not known by one name. Am I getting close? Ooh, no, I'm only halfway through. But so, so I did that work, and I grabbed onto the power, but I read in another book that I think I also picked up from here. And this is by Deborah Mirza. And I've never heard of Deborah before, or Debbie Mirza. But she wrote a book called The Safest Place Possible, A Guide to Healing and Transformation. And she said that thinking about what people have done to us or others, because sometimes that anger comes because we look at what others are going through. It brings up so much anger inside of us. It feels violent in our bodies. Any treatment of anyone that is not love is trauma, and our body feels it. And I knew that trauma. I knew that my trauma was real. I knew that my faith in God was real. I understood that sometimes life gives us challenges that are not easy. And so it is up to us, though, to take those steps that are necessary to do the healing work that's possible inside of us. Our faith requires that we live in the now. And that's what Debbie was saying. We can't hold on to the past. We can't hold on to the future. We have to live in the now. For the past will not bring you comfort. And the future cannot guarantee you that you're gonna, make it through. And we don't know what that's gonna involve. But if we're grounded in that connection, we know that whatever it is good. So we build that base before we get into crisis. We grab onto those tools. Do not live in the past or the future. Live in the now. There is no hurt that love cannot heal. I want you to hear that. There is no hurt that love cannot heal. And that's why you need to do the work of loving yourself, making yourself important, so that when others turn to you for help, you can be there for them. But if we don't do our own work inside, we can't be there for others. We can't take care of them and not take care of us. So faith must be built before challenges happen. And so that brought me to my last slide of Emmett Fox. And I don't know about many of you, but they used to produce a magazine called Creative Thought. And so I have many of these on my shelf, but this one happens to be from 2000. And I read that you must build up by faithful daily exercise, the true love consciousness, and then all the rest of the spiritual development will follow upon that. Love will heal you. Love will comfort you. Love will guide you. Love will illumine you. So the work of loving yourself enough to take on the responsibility of your own healing. And today I am healthy. I mean, I'm vibrant. I'm alive. I'm here. And sometimes you have to ask help from others. So don't forget that. They're in your life to help you when it's necessary. So turn to them as well as yourself. Don't think you have to do this thing called life alone. Know that the people you need are there as you draw them forth. So I'd like to take this opportunity now for us to move into my favorite thing to do. And prayer has been my passion since I came across Ernest Holmes in 1988, and I learned that there actually was a formula for prayer. So I learned that formula because everybody had said pray, but nobody had taught me how. But this place, this thing called spiritual living, teaches you how to pray. So if it feels comfortable, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and drop to your heart. And know with me that there's only one power, one wholeness, that we know as Spirit, God, Divine Source, and by many other names. This one power is the power of love. And to have faith in that power is to call forth the energy of life to be present with us right now. So I call forth my faith and love to unfold the healing of the body, mind, soul, feelings, emotions, whatever may be unfolding in this moment. This faith says yes to the good, and I know it is present and operating through everyone. I demand the power of faith to bring forth the change that is necessary to bring peace, balance, joy, love, laughter, safeness into our bodies right here and right now. For we have opened ourselves to this possibility. We have said yes. We have listened. We have spoken our word. And it is done unto us as we believe. And so I claim that healing right now. And I release any idea of lack or limitation. And in that truth, I easily and effortlessly say thank you. Thank you for the faith that is working as a force for change. Thank you with a grateful heart for the power of release and letting go. For then I can say, it is done. And together we can say, and so it is. Amen.
Thank you so much, Connie. Very powerful talk. I appreciate it. And now it's time for our offertory. We are so grateful and blessed for everyone's support of CSL Denver, whether it's in time, treasure, or talent. And especially during these times of change. We've got a lot of stuff going on out there. So whether this is your first time joining us or you are a returning community participant, we want to thank you for your continuing financial support of the important work we are striving to achieve here at Center for Spiritual Living Denver. Right now, there are several ways you can make your financial contribution to Center for Spiritual Living Denver, and it's running along across the bottom of the screen, old-fashioned way of just putting it into the tray going around, or you can go onto our website and hit the donate button, or you can do text to give, or mail to our P.O. box. So any one of those, we're just making that all possible for you. So just if you'll just place your hand over your heart, either with your gift or just with your heart, and repeat with me our affirmation. This perfect gift is spirit in form, circulating and blessing all that it touches. Freely I give, and joyously I receive, and so it is. We have a few announcements. We have one more July-August Science Mind magazine. There was some really good stuff in there these past 2 months. So we've still got August. So there's one left at $10. There's several older issues that are on the table that you are free to take home if you need to do some more spiritual reading. And we have, right after service today, we have our meditation and coffee social. So we have get some fellowship and some coffee and cookies or whatever. We'll circle up. Tim will lead us in a meditation, and then we'll just have a little bit of discussion about the meditation. So feel free to stay and join us in that. And also over on the table, Bill Carlton, one of our practitioners, has set up an optimal employment support. So he's got some papers there for anybody who is looking for I don't know, if they want to move into a new job, then he's got some different resources that you can access. So either check with Bill or check the paperwork that he's got over there in the corner. And then we are having our Sunday picnic on our next community cafe. So on Sunday, August 23rd at 10, we are going to City Park. And I will have a map available on our website, and for next week we'll have just kind of showing where we're generally going to be. But basically, we're generally going to be about 17th and Steele is where our general location. So we just ask you to bring your own lunch, bring a chair or a blanket, and we'll just have a great time and just have a nice. Hopefully, it'll be cooler. So we'll see. And we've also got a Foundations of Science of Mind and Spirit class coming up. Reverend Delzia is going to be teaching it. And this is our foundations class. It's the most basic class that we start out learning about Ernest Holmes' teaching. And it's a 6-week module. And it's the required text is The New Design for Living by Ernest Holmes. And you can order that on Amazon. I don't think we've got any back on the bargain on the table, but we'll just check and see. It's 6 Tuesdays beginning September 15th through October 20th, and it's on Zoom. And it's from 6:30 to 9:30. And the tuition is $110 for the 6-week class, but we also have some partial scholarships available if you're interested in that. And like I said, Reverend Elzia is going to be teaching that class. And then, so if you are interested, either hit one of us practitioners up and let us know, or go on to our email info@csldenver.org and just let us know that you're interested in taking the class. And our Curiosity Corner back here, we've got some newbies here. So we've got a lot of us have kind of culled our libraries, like Connie. We all have a lot of books. And so we're trying to kind of jettison some of them. So back over here on this side, we've got books that are $3. And we've got some CDs, DVDs. And then over here, we've got a bargain basement. Everything on that table is $1. So please take a look, see if there's anything you just absolutely cannot live without and want to go home with. We are so blessed to have New Thought Media Network and Diego as our Sunday service producer. You've seen what he's done for us, and just he's so good about taking care of us. And you know, the internet was down this morning, and we were all praying, please let it go, and it came up. So we were really happy about that. So we invite you to go to www.ntmedia.org and check out what they have. They have a ton of stuff. They've got radio programs. They've got Reverend Elzia and Dr. Robert Brzezinski do a weekly thing. And so there's just all kinds of things there. So it's something for everybody. And we are so truly blessed by everyone who has chosen to support CSL Denver by showing up on Sundays or watching our services online. We know that as we move through the rest of the year, the divine beloved is guiding us and loving each and every one of us. Like Connie said, just love ourselves. Just that's all we can do. Thank you for joining us. And now let's close out with, I think it's Gary Lynn Floyd, Unbound.
Breathe every breath. Release your cringe. Love without waiting, slowly unhinge. You ain't got a thing to fear. Looks like love is growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Unbound. You can stop waiting for love to find you. Look inside your heart. Love's already who you are.